Hey everybody, good afternoon. My name is Garrett Fuller. I'm with MMORPG. I am sitting with Richard Garriott, and we have Shroud of the Avatar behind us, the amazing glowing tower of protection in the background.
We're safe from, I won't get ganked here. So.
Yeah, we're safe. I mean, even in New York City, we're actually safe with that tower, so we're good. But I was really lucky to come to New York today to meet with Richard. And we want to give you some updates about Shroud of the Avatar that I think you're going to find really valuable. So why don't you start by telling everybody, Richard, where you are right now on the project. I mean, it's amazing what we've looked at today.
Yeah.
We have a really neat crafting video for everybody to see. But tell us where you are with the project.
Well, I would say, we're right in the middle of production now. So, we're clearly well beyond, building the foundation of the tools and engine and the things to bring the world alive. We're in the middle of bringing the world alive.
Right.
And that's the mode we'll be in. We were in for the last 6 months, probably be in for the next 6 months. And then we'll get into the finishing mode, where for at least release 1, we'll try to wipe out those last few bugs in order to get it out. But a little bit more specifically, we're doing these releases every month. And the release we just did was crafting, which is the video we just grabbed. And the very next release is going to be combat.
Combat, which we'll talk about in a minute, because that's going to be a tough one, right? There's a lot that goes with combat.
Yeah.
We had a whole discussion. So with being in full production right now, you guys still have your post Kickstarter, but you still have open crowdfunding for your players, and that's something to talk about too, because everybody thinks crowdfunding is just Kickstarter. It's actually not, right? You just have it on the site, it's available, and
in fact, we did. We were extraordinarily thankful to our Kickstarter community because it really backed us to a level where we believe we could deliver, something competent in what we promised, to the players for that amount.
Sure.
However, we of course have other stretch goals that were not met during that period of time, and the more we raise, the more we'll be able to deliver depth and variety. More monsters, more unique maps to explore, things of that nature. And the thing that's been exciting for us is that just post Kickstarter, people were still contributing, but at a relatively modest rate compared to Kickstarter.
Right.
But every month, or almost every month since then, the rate of new people finding the project, or new people, or people who already found it deciding to up their pledge, has actually increased. Pretty much every month since then. Right. This month ending now, being February, we raised about $200,000, which is mighty close to our burn rate. Yeah. And so it's almost the same as our burn rate. Sure. And so that means we can begin to, instead of looking ahead and going, well, when does this sort of Damocles fall? Now we're to the point, fortunately, it looks like we're turning the corner to saying, okay, now what is the next most critical person we could add to the team to really make the game that much better? Right, exactly. And that's a really important moment we're at, and it's great thanks to the community to let us start changing our mode of thinking from survival into quality.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great to see it on the site. And like I said, there's still plenty of opportunities in the project to get involved, which is very cool on multiple levels, as we've talked about.
We are, yeah, exactly. And broadly, of course, the fact that it's I guess it shouldn't be a surprise, but it still feels surprising when you realize that when you have tens of thousands of people in your community, there are not just a few. There's many of them who, in fact, have incredible talents and skills that for them is more fun and perhaps easier for them to volunteer into the process than cash. Yeah. And especially now that our cash needs are not scary. It's a time where people being able to contribute creatively is phenomenally useful and very exciting. I
think it's great. I'm going to save that for some of the features we're going to run and how they've harnessed the community in the game. I still think you're setting trends and breaking barriers on this one too, because I think you see more companies do it down the line. Speaking of stretch goals, you and Dave, tell me to answer this and laugh. We're sorry, but this is really cool. I know, this is really cool, which is you and Starlong are going to have to duel now, right?
Yes, exactly. It is. And what's really funny, of course, is the duel should be very lopsided.
Oh, really?
Should be.
Well, you used to fight a lot.
If it's a clean fight and things go as they should be, Yes, I have, you know, even before the SCA that we were talking about, you know, I used to be a tournament fencer with the university. So, then I fought in the SCA for many, many years, including became a white scarf, you know, within the SCA.
Sure.
And Star has had, you know, zero, and I mean like literally zero. I even, before we decided to have this duel, I was just trying to show him just mock combat moves, and boy was he struggling with it. So
I have a Rocky montage going through my head. We have to send some people down in Texas to help Star and get him ready.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody's doing. So there's people that are taking sides, and so the community has been taking sides, and Star has literally been conscripting people to come train him. And I have a suspicion, you know, I hear chatter in the office via my robot, you know, about you know, dirty ways they could, you know, throw sand in his face and then make an attack. So we'll see if the fight goes cleanly, or if somebody does anything dastardly. If I need my seconds, you know, to avenge me,
that's right.
We'll see. You know, I have some level of confidence, but I also understand that, you know, anything can happen in a battle.
Yeah, that's very true. As we both done a lot of, you know, play fighting. Thank God, no real fighting, but fencing and everything. You have to broadcast this thing, and you gotta. I mean, everybody has to see this. Everybody's got to see this. We can't wait for it. It's going to be very fun. So.
And I think it's public knowledge that you know, and I think we are meeting the goal too of loser goes in the lake.
Oh,
and so
there's an actual
so there's a prize.
Yeah,
it's not just nanny boo boo got you. It's you know, middle of winter, jump in the lake.
I like it.
So
do you have a location? Because this is big. Now that we're talking about it, now it's like a sporting event. So are you going to do it in Austin?
In Austin. Okay, so we have a location set up. I have property in Austin that's right on Lake Austin.
Right.
I've got my little medieval village down there.
Amazing.
So we're going to go do it down in the medieval village. But versus the center of the medieval village, we might do it somewhere right on the lakefront, just to make sure that the water plunge is as accessible as possible.
The depth of the leap.
Yes, the depth of the leap. Make sure
critical for. Sorry. So place your bets, everybody. That's the best part about it. I know. So I think it's great. I can't wait for it now. So that leads us to our next topic, which is combat.
Yeah.
And combat in Shroud of the Avatar, which, you know, we've talked a little bit about. Unfortunately, we can't really show it yet. But I'll let you talk about combat and some of the hurdles that come with it, like PvP.
Yes. So the next release, in fact, the next two releases are all, you know, largely about combat. And as soon as we start talking about combat at all, the first question that everyone asks is, you know, what about PvP? And there are multiple camps, shall we say, on this subject. You know, to take them as extremes, there's, you know, one group of folks are at the extreme of, I demand, not just want, not just prefer, but I demand that the game is full open, full looting, PvP, anywhere, anytime. That's all there is to it.
Because you never did that before with another game.
Yeah.
right.
And then there's another group of people who are going like, you know, I got a taste of that in the past, and I want nothing to do with it. And so I absolutely want to role play and PvE, but never have any circumstance. I want to be able to explore every inch of the terrain, whether it's in my own town or where the rarest of resources are found. I want to explore every inch of this world and never have the risk of someone randomly coming up behind me, bonking me on the head, taking all my stuff. So no open PvP and no looting. And so those are the extreme camps. And we're well aware of them, we're well aware of this debate, and it's our hope we get everybody who are in both of those extreme camps to relax for a minute. Our theory is that, by the way, we know we can separate them. If we make a game, if we make a game you can enter which is all one way, and a game you can enter that is all the other way, some fraction of people go that way, some fraction of people go that way, and they'll never see each other, but they both, in theory, could be happy. But that's not our preference, so we always could go back to that. But the route we want to explore, and the thing we'd love to talk with the readers of MMORPG about, is please, we know those extremes exist. We understand them clearly. You don't have to help us define them. We get it. What we want to find out, or what we want to explore is there a middle ground? Is there a middle ground that looks something like the following? That says towns which have nice towers around them like this and protective fields are safe. That tower is up and operational. It's safe. No PvP ever, anytime, except maybe voluntary dueling that we agree to.
Right.
In fact, we assume that in addition to safety, people can choose to duel each other, guilds can choose to declare war on each other, we assume those things would be any middle ground probably includes those. Mm-hmm. But is your middle ground where you do things like, say, there's rare resource areas that are contested that are open PvP? Are there castles, forts, places here and there, player-built towns that can be defined as open PvP? Is there outdoor wilderness areas, either at night when you're away from lights or away from protection, they become more dangerous where we could throttle open some PvP? Those are the things we want to talk about, and of course the PvPers that are listening to you are saying, of course, and more, and the role players are saying, forget it, we're not interested. I understand those immediate reactions, but we want to get support in exploring some of these options to see what happens before people just react with hatred on either side. And helping us suss out what the cost benefits of those would be are the things that we really want the community to help with. Is to have a passionate but reasonable, not pleasant to each other discussion about, well, what happens if we, instead of having full looting, do partial looting with what we talked about, the ransoming.
Love the idea.
We'll talk about it another time. We'll get into it. But the point is, we want to go on this exploration with you, the community. Help us make give us the best attempt at this blended option that brings everybody into one world. I think it would make the most exciting world for all players. But it won't work if we run off either of those two groups. If the only solution is those two groups are segregated, of course it will work. But I think both worlds will be a little less than if we can find a way to blend them, to not run off the role players by being PvP, and not run off the PvPers by allowing the role players some safety. So let's explore that possibility if we can.
I think it's going to be great. And guys, we're literally going to open up, do some AMAs and do some discussions with Richard and his team and get everybody involved. And I love the opportunity. I think it's great. And I think your voice, we've said it many times, that the voice of the community is very powerful. And a lot of people get angry, upset, and there's the hate, and there's, but there is really positive feedback, as you guys have seen. And that's totally what we're looking for.
Devout believer, as you know, we've talked about it a lot. I mean, the community contribution already to this game, far beyond financial support, and far beyond even the things you'll talk about of actual content. The community support in the sense of ideas and design and helping us get this right. We put back in things like jumping and swimming. Are coming back in here. They weren't the original plan. It was just the community not only just voiced their opinion for it, but they described the logic and the hows and whys, and they help us explore the limits of how to do it right. And that's the sort of thing we're looking for here on the combat.
Fantastic. Richard, thanks so much for taking time.
Absolutely.
We've had a great time, guys. We will definitely have a lot more of Shroud of the Avatar for you in the coming months. And you're seeing great stages of this game. I would have loved to have this years ago, when some other games we never, the doors would open and then they would close. I think that the team at Shroud has been amazing with Portalarium, just letting people in, letting people see things. It's been great. So thanks again, Richard.
Absolutely. Thank you.